about what symptoms usually equates to which hormone deficiency. A lot of times I tell patients when they start telling me their symptoms, which hormone I'm suspecting is wrong, or it's not wrong, it's low or high, depending on what the case may be. And they look at me like, how do you know that? Like, I tell you this symptom and you tell me it's this hormone. And a lot of times we correlate it with blood work. And a lot of times we're right. Okay. But I'm saying this because there are some classic symptoms that we see with hormone replacement that goes away, that made us associate that particular hormone deficiency with that symptom. So let's list a few of them so we can kind of tackle them in this video. Hot flashes, night sweats, trouble sleeping, belly fat, anxiety, irritability, brain fog, food sugar cravings. I think I just listed 8 or 9, I forget. Okay, we'll go over some of them. Okay, so let's tackle hot flashes. What causes hot flashes? The first thing you're going to hear me say is estrogen. Why? Well, before I even say why, let's describe what hot flashes are, because we have to separate that from what night sweats are. And a lot of patients get this mixed up. I'll ask patients if they have the night sweats or hot flashes and they're looking at me like, aren't they the same? No, they're not the same, and they're controlled by completely different hormones. So we have to be completely clear which one we're telling the doctor we're experiencing. Okay, so we're going to start it like this. Hot flashes are temperature changes that start around your belly and work its way up your head. Okay, you all of a sudden feel this internal heat, but it starts around the belly and just goes up your head. And it mostly happens during the day. It doesn't happen at night. During the day. That hormone that controls that is estrogen. If you are low in estrogen, you will experience the hot flash. The other times you might experience a hot flash is if you have too much of a cocktail. Okay, so I've had some patients tell me that they were feeling fine, all of a sudden they had a glass or two of their favorite cocktail, and all of a sudden they were just like, whew, the heat just came. And even though they were on hormone therapy, and I said, yeah, because you just disrupted your liver's ability to convert the estrogen to the right metabolite. So yeah, there you have it. That's your estrogen for you. So usually estrogen is linked with hot flash. Okay, so if you feel the heat start in the belly, work its way up, you break out into sweat, you're hot, you have to fan yourself down. We're talking about estrogen deficiency. Okay? Now night sweats, on the other hand, only happens at night. And that's why we gave it that name, night sweats. Okay? So night sweats can be all over the body. The most common way I describe it to my patient is when you go lay down and all of a sudden you feel hot and you have to take the sheet off so you can cool down. And then as soon as you cool down, you're feeling cold and then you have to put the sheet back on. And you do that all night long. On, hot, cold, off, on, off. And you're doing that on and on all night long. Besides that disrupting your sleep, that is a very telltale sign of testosterone not being optimal. And both men and women can experience this. This is not just women that we're talking about today, okay? Men can experience night sweats as well, because when their testosterone level starts to dwindle below what their body needs per day, they will experience these sweats. Next symptom I typically will see is patients having trouble sleeping. Well, once we've eliminated whether it's the testosterone keeping them up from the night sweats, we can then see whether another hormone called progesterone might be low. So we see progesterone deficiency causing patients to have sleep disruption. And a lot of these patients will call themselves, oh, I'm a light sleeper. Because they've probably been low since like very, very, very long. Like they've been going through it maybe since their mid-30s, maybe even earlier, where they never had enough progesterone. So they kind of just got used to it and called themselves like they're a light sleeper, right? But our body needs to go into deep REM sleep for it to repair, for it to burn fat, for it to get rid of toxins, right? It needs to get into a really restful, restorative state. And that doesn't happen if your progesterone level is not optimal. So when I see patients complaining about trouble sleeping, this is one of the things that I look for in their blood work. Another way we might sometimes find someone with low progesterone is they're constantly having migraine headaches or they're constantly having PMS symptoms. So those can also be signs that progesterone is low. What about craving sugars and things like that? That has sometimes been associated with just hormone imbalance in general, but it can also be a sign of high stress, high cortisol, so we can definitely look at that. In a lot of patients that have, belly fat, like a lot of belly fat, testosterone is usually implicated. So we look for testosterone in their blood work to make sure that besides the lifestyle choices, that their testosterone level is optimal. We also see patients complaining of joint aches and pains, in all parts of the body, and it moves from one joint to the next and to the back and to the knee and to the shoulder. And we find that hormone imbalance in general can be a cause of a lot of these symptoms. A lot of people don't realize that testosterone actually in our body acts as an anti-inflammatory, a natural anti-inflammatory. And so sometimes when we replace patients' hormones, especially testosterone, all of a sudden they're reporting that their aches and pains and stuff has lessened. And I remind them about this fact that yes, it has lessened because now you have an optimal amount of natural, right, anti-inflammatory. Not the ibuprofen that you're throwing in there that's damaging your gut, but a natural anti-inflammatory. So those are examples of things that patients will sometimes complain of that will immediately trigger me to go, oh, I think we need to see where your levels are on this particular hormone or that particular hormone. There's one common thing that I sometimes hear, which is I wake up at around 3 in the morning every day. I just wake up out of nowhere. And that can be a sign of cortisol dysfunction, right? So the cortisol, everybody knows that's the stress hormone, we call it. Usually when cortisol is abnormal, we will see a surge in the middle of the night. Well, not even this is abnormal. This is just a normal circadian rhythm. Usually 3, 4 in the morning is where cortisol level will surge. But for some people, it surges so high that it actually wakes them up. And they will just wake up, they don't know why they woke up, and now they're having trouble falling back to sleep. The normal circadian rhythm for cortisol is that you should release it early morning so that it's getting you ready to kind of tackle your day, attack whatever might want to attack you the next day head on because you're ready. So that's one of the functions, the reason why the body releases at that time. But for some people, the adrenals are overactive and for that reason releases too much cortisol and it wakes them up from sleep. So I hope that helps. These are some of the symptoms that we sometimes hear that will immediately trigger us to let's check your hormone panel, let's see where your numbers are, let's compare you to your age mate, see where you are with your bone density, all this stuff to try to figure out, do we need to optimize your hormones or are they good, okay? If you haven't joined our free VIP group, do that right now. The link is in the description below. That's where I can go deeper into some of these topics, things that I can't talk about here on YouTube. I'm able to discuss weekly in that free VIP group. There's no charge. Just click the link, join so you can get a notification when I'm going to have those classes. See you in there.